Hey there. Ready to dive into some serious tech today? We're talking semiconductors, specifically Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Their latest earnings call dropped just the other day, October 17th. I try to stay on top of this stuff, but wowza! Analyst reports, the call transcript itself, it's a lot. Luckily, expert speaker is here with me. They're going to help us separate the signal from noise, so to speak.
Let's just say TSMC's earnings report, kind of like their chips, packed tight. But what they're doing, it's key to figuring out where tech's going next.
Exactly, because they're the ones actually making these chips, right? I mean, powering everything these days. So, bottom line, what's the headline? What's going to blow my mind today?
One word, AI. Even TSMC's CEO on the call, he said the demand is insane. Not exactly the usual corporate
I know,
jargon.
insane definitely got my attention. But AI's everywhere, so why is TSMC sitting so pretty?
They're the biggest, and I mean biggest, dedicated chip foundry globally. Think of it like this. Apple, they designed that iPhone brain.
Mm-hmm.
But it's TSMC that actually builds it. And right now, everybody wants the most powerful AI brains they can get. And TSMC, well, they're the ones who can actually deliver that reliably at scale.
So if you're the company building the next, I don't know, ChatGPT or whatever, it's TSMC or nothing.
Pretty much. And here's where it gets kind of meta. TSMC, they're using AI themselves to make their own manufacturing even better. Their CEO, he gave this example. Even a 1% productivity boost from using AI. That's about 1 billion, with a B, Taiwanese dollars for them. That's a return on investment most companies can only dream of.
Hold on, so they're using AI to make AI chips faster. Whoa.
It just shows you, right? AI, it's not just the flashy consumer stuff we see every day. This is AI down at the foundation, literally optimizing the factories that make our digital world possible.
Okay, color me impressed, seriously. But let's talk money. What's the financial picture look like for TSMC right now?
In a nutshell, they're a profit machine. We're talking gross margins, somewhere around 57, 58%, almost unheard of in any industry, let alone one where you got to spend billions just to build a factory.
Wow. Okay, those are some serious margins. What's their secret?
It's two things, mainly. One, they are crazy efficient. Remember that AI-powered factory stuff we were talking about?
Yeah.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. But two, and this is the big one, they've got pricing power, like massive pricing power. Demand for their chips, it's so high they can basically name their price, and everyone's still lining up to pay.
Sounds like they're holding all the aces. But how
Right.
long can they keep that up? Someone's got to be trying to catch up.
That's the multi-billion-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to some of the, let's say, strategic tightropes TSMC is walking. For example, they're putting serious cash into building new fabs, chip factories overseas. We're talking Arizona, Japan. They're even looking at Germany.
Yeah, I've been hearing about those. Is it all about like getting closer to their big customers like Apple? Or is
Mhm.
there more to it?
It's definitely more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, being close to your biggest buyers is important, no doubt. But this is also about navigating, how do I put it, the, shall we say, increasingly tense global situation around semiconductors these days.
You're saying it's not just business, it's geopolitics.
Big time. Semiconductors, they're like the lifeblood, right, of how the world runs now, the entire economy. Governments everywhere, they're scrambling to lock down their supply. And TSMC, because they're the top dog, they're right smack in the middle of it all.
Okay, fascinating stuff, but back to those factors overseas. Good move for TSMC, or is it more complicated than that?
It's a classic example, right, of short-term pain, maybe, but for long-term gain. On the one hand, it lets them, diversify where they're building, keeps governments happy, because everyone wants these factories. Plus, it means they can make chips closer to where their customers actually want them.
So, win-win-win.
Sounds good on paper, yeah. But here's the thing. These overseas factories, right now, they're actually hurting TSMC's profits.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, think about it. You want to build one of these state-of-the-art chip factories. In Arizona, it ain't cheap. Labor costs more, building costs more. Heck, even just keeping the lights on is way pricier than in Taiwan.
So they're taking a hit, at least for now, on those profit margins just to get these new factories up and running. Bold move.
It's a calculated risk, for sure. They're betting that in the long run, the benefits, less geopolitical risk, closer ties to their big buyers, and having options if something happens in Taiwan. It'll be worth it. And we're not talking small change here. Each one of these factories, it's billions, with a B, in upfront costs.
Okay, so playing the long game, not just chasing the next quarter's earnings report, but with all this money going overseas, can they still stay ahead of the game tech-wise? Because if their tech falls behind, those customers willing to pay top dollar, they might start shopping around, right?
Exactly. And that brings us to, I think, the other big challenge for TSMC right now. staying on the cutting edge while they're building all this stuff at the same time. The chip industry, it moves at warp speed. They can't let up, not even for a second.
So how are they doing that? What's cooking in TSMC's labs?
Well, we talked about that AI thing they're doing in their factories, right?
Yeah.
But that's just one piece.
Mm.
They're also spending a ton to develop, like, even more advanced ways to make chips. Remember those nanometer numbers in the reports?
Vaguely. Honestly, those kind of went over my head.
No worries. It's actually pretty simple. Smaller nanometers, basically, means more transistors on a chip, like way more. Think of it like pixels on your phone screen. More pixels, sharper image, right? More transistors, way more processing power.
Okay, so smaller is better. Got it. And TSMC is winning that race right now.
Hands down. Right now, their 3-nanometer process, it's the most advanced, period. It's what's running the newest smartphones, the AI chips, everything.
Yeah.
But they're already working on, get this, 2-nanometer tech. Even faster, even more power-efficient chips. That's how they keep those premium prices and those top-tier clients coming back for more.
It's like they're playing 4D chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers. But even with all that, they've still got that capacity problem, right? Like, they literally can't make enough of these super advanced chips to meet the demand.
That's the crazy part. And it all comes down to this one thing, Kawas. It's like this special packaging they need for the highest-end AI chips, the ones everyone's drooling over. And even though TSMC is doubling, literally doubling, how much Kawas they can do, it's still not enough.
Okay, so new factories, pushing the limits of what's possible with chips, not enough of this CoWoS stuff. Sounds like TSMC's got a lot on their plate. How do they even decide what to focus on first?
Well, the $1 question, right? I wouldn't want to be the one making those calls. It's a total balancing act. On one side, you've got customers like Apple. They need chips like yesterday, right?
Mhm.
On the other, you've got to spend today to build for tomorrow on those overseas factories, on the tech that'll keep them ahead 5, 10 years down the line.
It's like they're playing 3D chess, but the fate of the whole tech world is riding on their next move.
That's a good way to put it. And it's why just looking at TSMC's numbers doesn't tell the whole story. This isn't just about one company's bottom line. Their decisions, they have huge ripple effects for the whole tech world and beyond.
Makes you really think about those little chips in a whole new way, doesn't it?
No kidding. And like we've been saying, the stuff they're dealing with, it's unprecedented geopolitical tensions, tech challenges that'll make your head spin, and then just the sheer demand for what they do.
So, listener name, after going this deep on TSMC's earnings, what's the biggest takeaway for you? Do you have like a newfound respect for how complex this all is? Or are you more worried about, potential problems down the line for the whole world?
Lots to process, that's for sure. We've gone from AI doing its thing at the chip level all the way to global power struggles.
No, and don't forget those profits. Not many companies out there sitting on that kind of cash pile.
And the question is, what are they going to do with it? Those overseas fabs, will they keep building them even if it hurts their margins for a while? R&D, are they going to pump even more money into that, trying to bend the laws of physics to make even crazier chips?
Or will something totally unexpected happen, some competitor we haven't even talked about, or some global event that throws everything off?
There are so many possibilities. It's really anyone's guess what happens next.
That's what makes this so interesting, isn't it? It's like a global thriller playing out in real time, and we've all got front row seats.
And the best part is, this is just the first act. What happens next with TSMC? Totally unwritten. And whatever it is, it's going to be even more complex, even more impactful than what we've seen so far.
Makes my head spin just thinking about it. But hey, that's what we do here, right? Break it all down, make it digestible, maybe get some interesting conversations going.
Exactly. And hey, who knows? Maybe one of our listeners out there, they're going to be the one to crack the code on, quantum computing or invent the next generation of AI chips.
Now that would be something. Well, on that note, listener name, we're going to leave you to ponder the future of TSMC, semiconductors, the whole tech landscape. Until next time, keep exploring, keep those questions coming, and keep those brains engaged. Talk about a high wire act.
Seriously. It's like they're playing this super high-stakes game where all the rules keep changing on them.
And the stakes get higher every time they turn around. If TSMC can't pull it off, it's not just them, it's the entire tech world that feels it.
No doubt.
Huh?
And, the way they handle all these geopolitical things we've been talking about, that could be what decides if we get, everyone working together on tech in the future, or if it all just splits apart.
And that brings it back to you, listener name. This deep dive, all this stuff we've unpacked, what's your big takeaway? Are you, pumped about the possibilities here, all this crazy tech these chips make possible, or more concerned about, the bigger forces at play?
It's a lot, right? We've gone from like AI optimizing how a chip is made
Hmm.
all the way to, I don't know, almost like global power shifts.
Oh, and we can't forget those insane profit margins. Not too many companies sitting on that much cash.
Right. And the question is, what are they going to do with it all? Will they just keep building these factories overseas, even if it means smaller profits for now? What about R&D? Will they just dump even more money into that, trying to make, like, physically impossible chips a reality?
Or will something completely unexpected happen? Maybe a competitor nobody even sees coming, or I don't know, some big global event that changes everything.
Too many possibilities to count, really. Nobody knows what the future holds.
That's what makes it so fascinating, right? Like a like a real life thriller playing out across the whole world, and we're all like right there in the front row.
And here's the thing. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
TSMC's story. It's
Yeah.
still being written. And you just know whatever happens next, it's going to be even more wild, even more impactful than everything that's come before it.
I'm getting a little dizzy just thinking about it. But hey, that's kind of our job, isn't it? Break it all down, make sense of it, hopefully get people thinking and talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And hey, who knows, right? Maybe someone listening to this right now, they're going to be the ones to figure out that next big thing, quantum computing, the next level of AI chips.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, on that note, listener name, we'll leave you to ponder all this. The future of TSMC, semiconductors, the whole tech world, it's a lot. Until next time, keep digging deeper, keep those amazing questions coming, and keep those brains engaged.